Welcome back. So we've got physics working on our game. What I want to do now is add rotation to this rectangle. Now to do that, we need to have that happening at every single frame of the game. So almost like every second, really. So to do that, we need to create a function, a special function called, well, it's like an update function that happens on every frame. So let's create that function first. So local function, and I'm going to call this UpdateGame. So this is updating the game every single second. So a function looks really similar to a variable in the same that it says local, except it has this keyword called function, and then it has the name of the function. So we created one called UpdateGame. It also has something in brackets called event. Don't worry too much about that for now. So we have to start off with that line, and then we have to close the function by having the word end there. Now this chunk of code, everything inside this chunk of code between the top line and the end, we can call that, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a bit. So what we're going to do is first let's type what we want to happen. So we want to take the rectangle and we want to change its rotation, right? And what we want to do is we want to change the rotation, so we want to add 1 to the rotation every single frame. Think of frame as like every single second, so every single frame. So to do that, we want to take the current rotation of the rectangle and we want to add 1 to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to say my rectangle.rotation is equal to my rectangle.rotation plus 1. So every time we call this function, it will take the rotation and it will add 1 to it, and then it will reset that my rectangle.rotation to this new one that we have. Okay, so now that I've explained that, hopefully you followed along there. What we need to do is we need to call this function every single frame. So to do that, we need to create something called a runtime event listener. So I'm going to do this line across, and you could see this in the API as well. So don't worry if you don't follow this everything. All you need to know is you have the function and then you have a listener that is listening. So every single frame it will call a function, and this is the function that gets called, and we want it to call update game. So what it's saying is on runtime, so when the app is running, listen out, and every single frame, or think of it as every single second, if that's easier for you to understand. It's a little bit more complicated to that, but think of it like that. We're going to call this function, and the function is going to be update game, and update game is going to rotate the rectangle by 1. So let's save this and see how that looks. There we go, we've got that rectangle spinning. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to see if you can figure out how to rotate this platform 1. And I give you a clue. You need to write something very similar to that in this code here, in this space here. If you manage to do that, see if you can figure out how you could spin the platform in the opposite direction. Alright, so I'll leave you there, leave it as that. Good luck, and don't worry if you didn't understand all these lines of code. It's more important that you understand what you need to change and just play around with it and see what happens. And by doing that, you'll understand the code a lot better. Okay, good luck, and I'll see you on the next tutorial.